Marianne Williamson political career. 2014 U.S. House of Representatives campaign. In 2014 Williamson ran, as an independent, for the seat of California's 33rd Congressional District in the United States House of Representatives elections. Regarding her motivation for running, she has said, "America has gone off the democratic rails. A toxic brew of shrinking civil liberties and expanded corporate influence are poisoning our democracy." Her core message was that humanitarian values should replace economic values as the ordering principle of our civilization. Prominent elected and public officials endorsed her campaign, including former governors Jennifer Granholm and Jesse Ventura, former Congress members Dennis Kucinich and Alan Grayson, and Van Jones, among others. Alanis Morissette wrote and performed Williamson's campaign song, "Today." She campaigned on a broad array of progressive issues, including greater access to high-quality education and free college, child poverty, economic justice, climate change and renewable energy, campaign finance reform, universal health care, criminal justice reform, ending perpetual war and increasing investments in peace-building, women's reproductive rights, and LGBTQ equality among others. She finished fourth out of 16 candidates, with 14,335 votes for 13.2% of the vote. Williamson said of the process and its outcome, "This conversation of a politics of conscience, a politics of the heart, is much bigger than any one woman winning a congressional seat. And if that woman loses, the conversation goes on. My losing the congressional seat is small, what's big is the larger conversation. You impact the ethers, and that energy goes somewhere." 2020 presidential campaign. On November 15, 2018, Williamson announced the formation of a Presidential Exploratory Committee in a video in which she acclaimed that there was a miracle in this country in 1776 and we need another one, which would require a co-creative effort, an effort of love and a gift of love, to our country and hopefully to our world. Visiting New Hampshire in early January, she said that she received enough positive energy to make me feel I should take the next step, and subsequently hired Brent Roske to lead her operation in Iowa. Roske, a film producer who also contested the same 2014 primary for the seat now represented by Ted Lieu, maintained a wide network of connections in Iowa due in part to his previous involvement in the state, working on a political television show about the 2016 caucuses. In response to the Iowa Democratic Party's proposed creation of virtual caucuses in the 2020 race, Williamson's campaign announced that it would appoint 99 virtual Iowa caucus captains, each assigned to a single county, to turn out supporters in both the virtual and in-person caucuses. Williamson officially launched her presidential campaign in Los Angeles on January 28, 2019, in front of an audience of 2,000 attendees, and appointed Maurice Daniel, who served alongside Donna Brazile and Dick Gephardt's campaign for the Democratic nomination in 1988, as her national campaign manager, with her campaign committee, Marianne Williamson for president, officially filed on February 4. Following her Los Angeles announcement, she held her Iowa kickoff in Des Moines on January 31. On February 16, in addition to scheduling another trip to New Hampshire, Williamson's campaign announced the appointment of former Congressman Paul Hodes, who represented New Hampshire's 2nd Congressional District from 2007 to 2011, as New Hampshire State Director and Senior Campaign Advisor. Former Georgia State Assemblywoman Gloria Bromell-Tanubu, who returned to South Carolina in 2011 to run for Congress in the state's 7th District and later joined Phil Noble's bid for governor in 2018 as his running mate, served as South Carolina State Director and National Senior Advisor to the Williamson campaign, but later ceased working with the campaign. On May 9, Williamson's campaign announced that she had received enough contributions from unique donors to enter the official primary debates, having raised $1.5 million in the first quarter of 2019, during which the campaign received donations from 46,663 unique individuals. She subsequently met the polling criteria, with 3 unique polls at 1% from qualifying pollsters, on May 23. In June, Williamson confirmed that she moved to Des Moines, Iowa in advance of the 2020 caucuses. Political positions. Williamson claims to be a pretty straight-line progressive Democrat, supporting an increase of the federal minimum wage to $15 per hour, reducing income inequality, addressing climate change, and tackling student loan debt. She backs a Medicare for All model, Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, DACA, and a pathway to citizenship for undocumented immigrants without a serious criminal background, and says that the U.S. needs to be an honest broker in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. She ranks climate change as the greatest moral challenge of our generation and backs the Green New Deal. She has called for the establishment of a Department of Peace to expand global diplomacy, mediation, and educational and economic development. She also voices support for stricter gun control, criminal justice reform, improving public education, free college tuition, raising the top marginal tax rate to a point where high earners pay their fair share of taxes, describing her policies as a renovation of a sociopathic economic system focused on short-term profit maximization. She appeared to oppose mandatory vaccinations when she described them as Orwellian and stating to me, "It's no different than the abortion debate." She later stated that she misspoke, "and I support vaccines. Public safety must be carefully balanced with the right of individuals to make their own decisions." According to the Los Angeles Times, she has a history of skeptical comments about vaccinations. Her signature campaign promise is a call for $100 billion in reparations for slavery to be distributed over 10 years by a group of black leaders for selected economic and education projects, and later suggested distributing $200 to $500 billion on the Breakfast Club, a sum far greater than any other primary contender's support. In doing so, Williamson became the only candidate in the Democratic field to submit a detailed plan for reparations for Black Americans, though fellow Democratic presidential candidates Elizabeth Warren and Kamala Harris later pledged support for reparations in late February 2019.